Okay, so we are back for the second filming day where I'm going to kind of redefine or reframe some words that we've all heard before that I used to hear and think certain things, and I've come to a sort of a different or more objectively true understanding of it. Today the word is going to be ego. When I used to hear the word ego, I thought it automatically meant that someone was confident or arrogant or knew a lot, or if they had a big ego, it meant that they had something that other people didn't have. Like if you had a big ego, you were confident, and if you weren't confident, you didn't have a big ego, for example. What I've come to learn about the word ego is that everybody has an ego. The ego is the part of us, or a collection of parts of us, that keeps us in a place of relative comfort, keeps us what it's used to, and kind of keeps us where we're at, so to speak. You maybe have heard the term ego death. When I began the whole healing process, I had my first big ego death right before my 40th birthday. It may have been actually the day of my 40th birthday, but either way, I went on a walk before I was going to pick my daughter up from school. And at that time of my life, I had been experiencing a large amount of physical pain in my lower back and hips that would shoot down my right leg, all the way up my right side of my back and my right arm, and it was excruciating to the point where there were quite a few days where my daughter would have to help me put on my shoes and socks in the morning because it was so sore and so tight and so painful. On this particular day, as I went on my walk, I noticed that the pain had completely subsided to the point where I felt so relaxed and so calm and so pain-free that it was almost a little bit alarming, because at the time, it had been many years since my body had felt that relaxed and that good. So I picked her up from school, we walked home, and even Gia was like, "Dad," she's like, "What's up with you? You seem so relaxed and calm." I was like, "Yeah, I know, my pain went away," and I went back home, and it was a very emotional thing, and I told Gia I needed to go sit in my room for a little bit just to kind of gather my thoughts, and I was sitting in my room, and I messaged Bijou, who at the time was the woman who was guiding me through this healing process, and I told her that what I was going through, and she mentioned something about an ego death, or my ego, and she was mentioning that how this was the universe basically letting me feel what my body should naturally feel like. And in this moment, in combination with this thing I was going through with my physical pain and all the other stuff I'd already begun in my healing process, I got this overwhelming feeling of gratitude for the part of me that had survived and gotten through the pain and through all the heartache and through all the tough stuff up until the moment I was in that moment, sitting in my chair in my bedroom. And the feeling was that I was so grateful for that part of me. I was so grateful for the version of me that had got me to this seat, but also in the moment had this feeling of, oh my God, I don't need that guy anymore, the same way that I needed him for the last 40 years. And at that point, I became very emotional because I realized, with the guidance of Bijou, that I was having a profound ego death, meaning that this part of me that had helped me survive for 40 years and got me through all the hard stuff and been there for me was also blocking me from continuing to heal and evolve and progress into the next version of myself. So in that moment, I thankfully became acutely aware of the fact that I had to energetically let that part of me get out of the driver's seat of the bus, so to speak. He doesn't have to get out of the bus. He doesn't have to go away, because he is important. That part of me is important. That survival instinct is important. That perseverance is important. That learning how to get through hard things is important because I'll need that. I still need that as in my life now, but he's not in the driver's seat anymore. So that part of me was a version or a part of my ego that was a necessity for the first 40 years of my life, but was not a necessity for the moving forward as he was in the first place. So now that part of me, that ego, that version of me, he's still part of my parts. He's still part of my energetic tribe, so to speak, but he's sitting in the back of the bus, or another metaphor is he's sitting at the table versus standing up and leading the table. The reason I share that story is because there are many different parts of us, many different egos in us, and as we heal, when we get on a healing journey, our ego, whether it's the version I just told you, the first 40 years of my life, but our egos along the way will do anything they can do to stay driving that bus because it's comfortable, they want control, and it makes that part of you feel good and safe, even if that part of you, or even if that safety and that good feeling, that comfort is dysfunctional or not serving you in your evolution or growth or healing. The other thing I want to talk about with the ego, or the other kind of example, is that making these videos, right? The current version of myself, my ego had been telling me, you don't need to make these videos, you don't need to commit to it, you sound like an idiot, you don't really know what you're talking about, people are going to make fun of you. Even as I say it right now, the feeling that I'm giving a voice to that part of me that tells me I shouldn't be doing this. And it's making me feel like shit. It makes me feel like I want to curl up in a ball, cry, and turn the camera off and give up. But like I said before, is that everything beautiful and amazing is on the other side of discomfort, going through that discomfort. So even making these videos, I had to overcome an ego, the ego that was telling me, you can't do this, you don't know what you're doing, you can't talk in front of a camera, you can't share this knowledge, you can't share this wisdom because who do you think you are? So the ego is not just, the ego does not just mean, or having an ego does not just mean that you're confident, and if you're not confident, you don't have an ego because you lack confidence. We all have an ego. We all have different versions of our ego. Our ego is the part of us that keeps us in a safe, comfortable place, even if that safe, comfortable place is not serving us to our higher self, to our evolved self, to our healing self. And when we are able to work through the discomfort and we're able to love that part of ourselves and love that ego and say, ego, I'm aware of this, but you're gonna have to sit at the table. You're gonna have to sit at the back of the bus now because I'm trying to evolve and heal and grow. So that's kind of what I wanted to sort of demystify or reframe about the word ego. Once again, I feel very proud of myself for doing this video. I hope it's landing well with the people that are viewing it. If you like the videos, it does help to be, liked and shared or even commented on. As silly as that sounds, it's just true. So if you like it, or you think it's valuable for you, or think it's valuable for somebody else that you may know, give it a share. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. There'll be more to come. Thanks so much for listening.